Welcome to Couch Talk. Coffee's on, chaos managed. Let's talk. I'm Lynn.
Hey, I'm Lisa, and we're the sisters that you wish you could sip coffee with. Make sure you follow us because we've got thoughts on what's going on in the world today.
Today's topic is one that everybody's buzzing about. It's Medicare premiums going up, Social Security checks going digital.
Mm,
There's whispers about trust funds running dry. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down, keep it simple, keep it light, and show you what you can actually do about it.
So, our little quick sip here, which I really like because they're like little shots of coffee, strong, wake you up, keep you moving, avoid numbers coma.
Yeah, foamy coffee.
Well, and today our quick sip here is basically talking about where the Part B premiums they're going up. We're talking like a 6% increase going from the current just over 170 bucks, $74 a month. They're going over 185 in 2025. They went up. Prescription drug out of pocket caps out at $2,000. Social Security benefits are increasing.
They did increase,
They
January.
did. Well, yeah, but that was January. They increased a whole 2.5%. Woohoo! Can we get a cheer? And then one of the things that they're doing is they are at the end of September this month, next few days, they are eliminating
Mm-hmm.
paper checks
Totally
entirely,
phased them out.
getting rid of it. They don't want to deal with paper. And then, of course, the continual discussion of how Medicare fund solvency only until about 2033, and then after that, 2034 and after. Don't know what we're going to do. There's not going to be money.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
before we slide into Couch Talk Corner, let's take a quick, short little commercial break. Okay, before we slide into Couch Talk Corner, we're going to talk about something that you can keep this couch comfy. We don't have commercials for toothpaste or investment apps yet, but we do have the social experiment, and that's our way of keeping the coffee brewing, the chaos managed, and the conversations flowing. And if you'd like to hang out with us, head on over to couchtalk.com. That's COWCHTALK.com, and check it out because every little bit keeps this couch from collapsing under us, literally. Okay, let's dive a little bit deeper. Medicare first.
Mhm.
Premiums are up, like
Yeah.
we were saying in the bullet points.
Right.
But the prescription drug cap that's new,
It's
and
new.
it helps people that have been drowning in costs.
Well, those are getting expensive. It's so true. But the kicker here, let's see, is just because there's a cap, that doesn't necessarily mean that meds are going to remain affordable for everybody. But, we have to look at it as being a win, not the finish line in the race.
Well, you could help yourself win. I mean, get off your medication. As many medications as you can. Look at lifestyle, look at diet.
Diet is the big thing.
It
And
is.
surprisingly enough, when you go in to see your doctor, medical professional, whoever that person might be, you start talking. The first thing they want to know, what are your symptoms?
Yeah, what are the symptoms? Not what are you eating?
What are you eating? Because a lot
Are
of
you
what's
getting sunlight?
well, yeah, sunlight is so important, but they've got people so paranoid thinking, "Oh, I go in the sun, I'm gonna get skin cancer." Oh no,
That's true. They
it's
have
and then of course
created a lot of fear.
a
with a
number
lot
of months
things.
ago, you read and hear about how your sunblocks have
Created
carcinogens
cancer. Yes,
in
they
them.
do. Yes, they do.
So, did they create a product to create a patient?
I believe so.
I think in a lot of respects they do.
I
It's the
believe
same
they
thing
did.
with a lot of your prescription drugs. I don't care what drug you are taking. It's made out of chemical compounds.
Yes, it is.
And inherently, everybody might possibly have some sort of a side effect to
Well,
it. Look
everything
at
comes
all
with a
of them.
side effect.
All of
And
them.
but how many people run around and say, "Oh, I take that and I don't have any problems." Yet they'll talk to you 3 days of the week. "Oh, I have a slight headache." Yeah, what's in that list of side effects?
But
"Oh, I
not to
have a little
mention, what about
I've gained a little bit of weight." "Oh, well, what's in your side effects?"
what
I
about the
mean,
bioaccumulation in your liver?
exactly. What is it doing to the rest of your body?
Yes, because the liver is the filter of your system. It's there to get rid of and detoxify your system.
Most
But
definitely.
if you're bogging it down with junk, chemicals, and prescription drug things that are in there that
Mhm.
inherently end up in your liver, and there's studies out there that talk about these things. Go look it up for yourself. you're not doing yourself any favor because now your body can't function the way it's supposed to,
Correct.
which is like,
And that creates more problems, which creates more prescriptions. Now, I will give a little caveat.
Mhm.
There are certain people that need
right,
medication, and
right.
that's not saying anything about any of that, but the majority of the people that are out there on medications, you can probably eliminate a lot of what you're taking
Well, you have to
if
look
you
at
start looking at self
the
and
aspect of
fixing.
how many of the medications are they taking started by taking one medication and then they
Exactly.
showed up with something else.
Hmm.
Because let's face it, the medications that you are taking are not in any way, shape, or form curing you
No, it's
of
masking
anything.
symptoms.
It,
It
well, it
masks symptoms.
alleviates the
Yeah.
symptoms. And in doing so, you're actually driving the problem deeper into the system itself. So, yeah, you can do better. And there are alternative ways of handling your medical situation. You need to understand you. You need to be willing to question the authority figure in the form of the white coat and stethoscope and question them.
Very
Why
true.
do I need to take this? What is it going to do for me? Are there alternatives? You know what? Seek out an alternative medical professional. There are naturopaths out there. There are homeopaths out there.
Oh, most definitely. And start looking into stuff for yourself. Take care of
Oh,
self.
definitely. You don't think the doctor's going to sit down and Google crap? Of course they do. Of course they do. They only can keep so much in their head straight,
Yeah,
but the
most
rest of it,
definitely.
you've got so much at your fingertips.
Yeah, most definitely. Moving on.
Okay.
Social Security. Yes, we all got that 2.5% bump.
Woo-hoo!
But
Well, I
checks
did, and I don't collect.
but checks went digital. No more paper after September, which I don't know, Lisa. Some people prefer
They do.
mail because they like the feel of that check.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, yeah, because you take the older generation, people that were the baby boomer crowd, so to speak.
pre-boomers.
A lot, yeah, to a great extent. I
Some
mean,
of them
the
are.
earlier
Yeah,
half of the
mom.
boomer area, they are less comfortable with the digital format of things.
Hmm.
Some of it just is they didn't have to utilize all this tech stuff
They did.
on
They
a
didn't
daily
grow up
basis.
with it.
Well, we didn't
Whereas,
grow up with it.
well,
It was
no.
introduced when we were
When
adults.
you started hitting the 90s and they started coming out with your
Right.
first computers and things started migrating into businesses.
Yes, you had to learn as you go. As it came
Yes.
out, we learned.
But the older generation,
They didn't have
some
that.
of the boomers didn't have that.
Right.
What is it? The prior generation was that the
The
silent
silent
generation?
generation.
They didn't have. I mean, look at mom. I mean,
Well,
they didn't have
yeah, they didn't have
the
any of.
computer.
They were lucky they had a telephone and indoor plumbing. Come on. But no, I mean, a lot of people, they
Party
really
line.
aren't comfortable with it. And when you hear things out there about things being hacked and stuff like that, I think this is where a lot of that fear comes in because they're afraid something is going to go wrong and they're not going to get their money and they rely on that money.
That's true.
But let's face it, a paper check can get lost in the mail, can
That's
get put in the
true.
wrong mailbox. Things do happen.
Well, and people need to realize because in talking with people from older generations, they need to realize that they think that if they call on the phone
Right.
and give their credit card over the phone when they
Oh,
want to buy something, that it is safer
right.
than ordering it
And
online.
there's no
And
difference.
it's like there is no difference no matter which way you do it. Somebody is there pressing the little buttons in
Right.
with your number to put in your card, and everything goes over this
It's
giant cloud.
getting into the
It's
into the
so,
system somehow.
but it's the mindset because they just don't.
It
They don't
doesn't.
think that way. So this
Well, I
is where
don't think it.
mindset comes in.
Yeah, I don't think it makes as much sense to them. The whole idea of the cloud.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
And speaking of mindset coming in,
Yeah.
we can look at it this way because we can either panic about the 2034 and trust funds, or we can focus on what's in our control,
Yeah.
planning, adjusting, and staying informed. Personally, I think it is, I'll use light French, crap that the system is running out of money. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Well, no, they've been telling us this since the 70s.
Well, and they're trying to put that in your brain. Oh, they're running out of money to prompt you to not
It's
remember.
well, it's
The,
psychology.
most definitely.
It's all psychology
Hmm.
because
Tell somebody
since
long enough.
what was it like around 83 they started
Yes.
moving the funding over into a unified system so that everything was located and could be easily accounted for, more transparent. This is what they tell you
Well,
the premise
actually
is.
actually, that's when they did that, the surplus part, but prior to that, back in '69, I think it
I think it was
was.
Johnson was in the White
Yeah,
House.
it was like '69 that they actually migrated that money into one lump thing for
Right. That's
transparency,
right.
and so
That's right. Yeah.
everybody can see. But in '83 is when they started saying, "Well, we're gonna move the surplus."
Which
Shouldn't they
when
have been
you
investing this money
you
all
know,
along and just
that's
using
the
the interest
premise.
to pay the people?
Because if you've using easy numbers, you figure an individual works from 20 to 60. So that's 40 years. You
Yes.
scrape off maybe, $75 a paycheck, maybe more. I know I might be using light numbers, but I'm just throwing numbers out there. Your company matches that.
Caught it.
Thanks. Good catch. Your company matches it. So that happens every single paycheck. So if you're getting paid weekly, that's 52 times a year.
Yes.
That money obviously doesn't equate to a whole lot in and of itself.
No, but
But
over 40 years.
it's the premise of compounding effect of money.
Mhm.
It's the time value issue that when it's invested, and this is what they're supposed to do with it. They're supposed to have it going into secured investments in order to accumulate more money so that by the time you retire, that money has grown so that you can get a decent amount every month to help supplement your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So really there is no surplus. That surplus should be
It
in
should be
there
invested money.
continuing to
But
make the money.
they're calling it surplus, and that is the money that the government technically borrowed to use for general fund.
Borrowed, steal, potato,
Well,
potato.
whatever. Somebody's
Somebody was using it for something that wasn't meant for.
somebody's I don't know what. But when you sit there and you look at it, and then they try and tell us that there's been a decrease in the number of people that are contributing, which again, French crap. Um,
Le crap.
la crap,
Le
la
crapette.
crap, la
Oui,
poo,
oui.
la poo.
Pepe Le Pew is here.
But really and truly, I did a little bit of looking and whatever. In 1984, there was 106 million workers. 106. In 2025, there's 163.88 million. So we have increased the number of workers by 57.88 million workers. That's more people contributing
Yeah.
into this system.
Right.
Now, look into the number of people that have died. And the big thing that they keep shoving down our throats is the number of people that died during COVID.
Right.
And that age 65 plus, you're looking at 858,323 from 2019 to 2023.
And let's look at those numbers because you figure if that was over a 4-year period in time,
Mm-hmm.
say on average the payout was $1,200 a month to these individuals. Now multiply that out times 850 some thousand people, $1,200 a month for 4 years. How much money is that saved? But then you have to go into the other numbers too.
Well, that's true because if this was only age 65
Right.
plus, there was a
They were
grouping
already
that
drawing.
was 55 to 64, and you can start collecting at 62
Mhm.
at a lowered rate.
Mhm.
So it doesn't add in the number of people that
No.
had passed from age 62 to 65. So this number is light.
And you also have to take into consideration there are people that never reach retirement age
That's true.
because they pass early.
That's true. Or they just get to retirement age, collect for a handful of months, and off they
yeah,
go.
right.
I mean,
Meanwhile, you still have this
pool of money,
multiple millions of people
all
that
their
are
money
putting
sitting there.
into the system. And granted, the funds are supposed to be identified by Social Security number of who's putting in what because
Yes.
they have to do a calculation of how much you are entitled to take out. But still, the way that things transpired, it's not like, okay, I'm putting in X number of dollars per paycheck for my Social Security and that there's a specific account that my money goes into individually. That's not how it happens. It goes into the big fund and then it is
My
divvied.
thought,
Oh
my
God, she's
thought,
thinking.
yes, congressmen make $174,000 a year.
I want to make $174,000 a year.
Well, I think that everybody that's on Social Security should make the same thing that Congress
I'm
does,
liking your
which means
thought.
$14,500 a month. Why are we paying those people that kind of money? What are they
There
doing?
are many questions that we could
I
ask
have a
about what's
we're
going
gonna
on with
have to
all
do
that. That's
we
going
need
to
to
be
do a
another,
whole show. Yeah, that
that
we're
would
gonna
be a
have to
whole
do
show
a whole show on that.
talking about that. Yes.
Most definitely. But yeah, when you sit there and you look at the way that things are set up with Social Security and what they're trying to tell us that we're gonna run out of these
Right.
funds,
Well, the problem is they
they've
shouldn't be
been telling
setting
us
up an
that
annual
forever.
budget in advance to determine how much they need to spend in payments to Social Security recipients and then say, oh, the rest is a surplus. No, they just need
It's
to
not a
leave all of the
surplus.
money in there because
Yes,
it's going to need to be utilized.
it needs to be
So
left in there and
let
accumulating
it continue to
interest.
grow. So stop playing the Chicken Little syndrome with the
Yeah, quit
population.
throwing it into the general fund and then just paying back interest on the money that you basically took.
Meanwhile, the principal continues to sit out there in no man's land being spent on
Hmm.
God only knows what.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like our government has gotten too big.
Yeah,
It has gotten too big.
it has.
And here they are, taking us and again telling
Too
us that we're
big,
going to run
too
out of
many
money.
laws.
And now they want to change the age to 70. Now
Right.
they want to change
Well,
the age
and
to
this is
collect
why
full
they're
pay is
running on
70.
this. We're going to run out by
Well, we've been running
2034.
out since the 70s.
I know.
So, that's a bite me in my view.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So definitely. So, yeah.
So some takeaways from what we've gone over.
Yeah, just a little bit of advice.
Basically, look at your Medicare every single year.
They send that book.
They send a book
They
out.
do.
I just got mine for 2026. So they do send
I think we
them
got ours
out
last week.
relatively early so that you have plenty of time to go look and
Mhm.
read through it because
If you want to change
there's a lot
anything.
of information in there and it's a dry textbook.
Blah, blah,
You
blah.
might fall asleep while reading it. If you have insomnia, this could be your cure.
This could be your book.
Put it on your nightside
We
table.
can't use the word cure.
Oh, that's true. We can't.
It might assist.
It could put you to sleep. People would try to tell you to, try to budget for the increases in your Part Bs and whatnot.
Well,
But
because
can
we
you
know
really?
January of 26,
Well,
that's going to go up again.
But can you really budget for it? Especially
I don't know how you could.
I don't know how you could because so very many people in today's day and age are relying on Social Security
They are.
for their retirement and I know a lot of people say, well, why didn't you save for your retirement?
Well,
You know what?
back then
Get
it was
into
set
somebody
up as
else's shoes.
back then it was set up as a safety net,
It was a supplement
and
because
it was supposed to help.
but think about how that worked. People went to work for a company and you generally worked your entire career at
For
a
a pension,
company
and now
for a
people are so
pension.
transient that
You don't have
there is no
pensions
pension.
anymore.
Well, a lot of companies don't have
No,
pensions
most
anymore.
pensions don't. They all
Most
went to
went to
401k.
401k. So,
Right.
I mean, even the school board and stuff is like 403b,
They offer
401k.
you.
Yeah.
But the problem with those is you're putting money into the stock market.
It's
You as
dependent on
the
market, yeah.
individual get to choose your risk level and those
And a
kind
lot
of
of
things.
people are not
They're not
market
savvy on that kind of a thing too. And then when you have these market drops,
Yeah.
it
Yeah, they
takes you out at
lose.
the knees because we had money in an IRA account and then you had the whole kerfuffle happen in the early 2000s. We never recouped our
No.
loss.
Mm-mm.
We never recouped because it's not just the money you lost. It's the income you should have accrued
Yep.
that you also lost. So it was basically there are people out there that they lost their shirts. Years ago it was what was it? Enron, was that the name of the company?
Yeah.
That they
Enron.
totally shafted
Mm-hmm.
their employees by the way they did things. And here you've got people that were on the verge of retirement and nothing.
Yeah.
They had nothing. And it happens. People do investments on the side on their own rather than participate in somebody else's plan. And then things go awry and you have nothing. Have one major medical event occur in your life and not have
Oh, it can
insurance to
wipe you
cover
out.
it.
Yeah, can wipe people out.
Thank God for the VA insurance because when Rick had his kidney stone, that was $80,000.
Well, we've been very blessed to have the VA.
But I'm sorry, $80,000 for
I
a
know.
kidney stone?
I know.
Ridiculous.
Very
And of course, I
ridiculous.
saw all the insurance documents and stuff when Mom went through her cancer treatment. Ridiculous. One one thing she had once a month was $87,000 for one of her treatments, and she
Well,
had that for several
but
months
think about
on
it. A
top
lot
of
of
the
this
rest.
gets billed back to insurance companies, and then
Mm,
you have your portion, your 20%, whatever your copay happens
yeah,
to be, and they're billing these insurance companies. I'm sorry, it's a money racket.
it's
It's
just
just a money racket.
it's crazy.
If they took all that money because it sits there, I mean, I really think that the government and the insurance companies and everything are all just
They're
one
in
big
cahoots.
party. So why don't you just take that money, throw it at the thing, and let everybody just go who they want to go to, and
Yep.
none of this insurance
All right, and we were
crap.
talking about how they're eliminating the paper check format of
Yep.
getting your Social Security, and that is going to be eliminated at the end of the month.
Yeah, in a couple of days,
Yeah,
September 30th. So if you have not set anything up
right. You need to do
by
something.
September 30th, you have to, and they're not going to automatically send you
No,
anything. You're just supposed to know this, and you have to either set up direct deposit,
right,
or you have to set up, if you don't have a bank account or something, you have to sign up for their debit express card.
right, and then it just acts like a refillable
It
prepaid
acts
account.
like a debit
But
card.
if you don't do either of these things
You are put
timely,
on hold.
you're going to be waiting for your money,
You're put on
so
hold
it's not
because
going to show
I
up.
looked that up. I
Yeah,
wanted to know what's going to happen to these people that didn't do it, and their
right.
money just gets put on hold.
Yeah, because they're not doing paper.
Yeah, they're
I
not
don't
doing
want paper.
paper. So, what do we do with all this stuff? How can we participate? What can we do to make our lives better as we migrate into Social Security
Well,
and
we
Medicare?
obviously, as individuals, we don't have direct control over what the government choose it ends up ultimately doing.
No,
What we do have is an indirect through our vote.
the who's doing it?
Who is
Who?
voting for these? And this is where
Yep.
it gets so important. You can't just go in blindly and say, "Oh, well,
I
let's
remember
see."
that name.
Exactly. Oh, this one's been in office for the last 40 years.
They
I'll vote
must
for
be
them.
doing a
They're
great
seasoned.
job.
Sometimes you need a fresh brain, and
Yeah,
that's a whole
most
nother
definitely.
discussion
Well,
too.
it is another discussion, and it has to be,
Contact your representatives.
yeah.
You're
Find
allowed to
out what, go out on their website, find out what they're all
what
about.
are they doing?
What do they believe in?
You can look to see how they voted on issues
Yes,
as
you
well.
can.
You can find out what all is in the documentation that they're voting on. You can send an email and tell them, "Hey, this is happening and I don't like this part of it, or I don't like any of it, or this is great. Do it." You have those options. And granted, I know we often feel like we're speaking to the wall because you don't have
No.
that direct interaction. It's not like when you see some of these old movies like or watch Andy Griffith where somebody comes into the local cafe
Talking to
and
the sheriff.
exactly you get to sit down and talk with the main person face to face and have a conversation
I think you need an appointment these
and I
days.
don't even know if you can get an appointment with your
I don't know.
representatives because you know what?
They should.
A lot of them seem to get in those positions and think that they're above the rest of us and
Well, they
forget that
hide.
they are
Well,
needing to serve their
but now think
constituents.
about this. Here they are sitting in Congress and whatever, and they're making $174,000 a year.
Right.
Why? Why
Consider the
are they
fact
making, what do they do?
the average
It was supposed to be a part-time
the
thing
average
and a
earning
blessing to be able to serve.
in America is under $50,000 a year.
Well, the federal minimum wage is still like what,
Seven something.
725, 7 something?
But think about it. If you're earning
I think they should get federal minimum
174,000
wage.
some odd dollars, and that's the base pay as a newbie, and you start in at that, and then you get to vote yourself a raise for the next time that people come in. Ooh,
Well,
isn't that
and
great?
I don't think that they should be able to vote themselves raises.
But they're making more than the average individual earns. How can you possibly relate? How can you be a multimillionaire and relate to the person who is a single parent with two or three kids trying to juggle a work schedule, getting kids around to school, afford all of the daily expenses of gas, food, housing, clothes, daycare? People just don't seem to understand how ungodly expensive things have gotten.
Well, federal minimum wage in the US is $7.25 an hour, and that's been effective since July of 2009. So
That
I
hasn't changed
propose,
in
no, it hasn't.
going on 20 years.
I propose that everybody that is serving, our senators, our congressmen, I think that they all need to
Make
make minimum wage.
$7.25
You
per
make
hour.
$7.25 per
Maybe
hour,
they'd get their butts in there and do the
and you
job.
have to pay for your own travel
Oh, there
and
are
your
so
own
many.
stuff.
That's a
You know,
whole other
that's a
show.
whole nother
Because
discussion.
we have solutions.
I know. We have a lot of
We
solutions.
do. All right, so that's it. Our whole deal on what's going on with Social Security. So let's not forget the most important part, though. You're not powerless. The information that you get, that's power.
Yep.
Mindset, how you're thinking and feeling about these things, that is going to keep you from spiraling into some sort of a deep depression or
Yep.
rage.
Just find the positive.
You have to
Find the positive and
right.
what
You
you got
you have
going.
to find the positive, and if you don't like what's going on, that's where getting involved comes along.
That's where getting involved in and
Definitely.
making an effort to change it. So that is your Medicare and Social Security lowdown. And yes, things are changing, but no, the sky is not falling.
Exactly. And don't forget, visit us out on our website at couchtalk.com. That's COWCHTALK.com. And share us with a friend that needs to be in the know.
Yeah, most definitely. So see, coffee's on.
Chaos managed.
That's Couch Talk.